Okay, Vladimir, we should be on the air and broadcasting.
Okay, so let's start this then. Thank you everyone for coming for the Node.js security working group meeting. We've got the agenda of the day on the GitHub issue. So I invite all of you to it, and we'll start right now with the first issue that would be 103. Handle HackerOne.org to the core triage team. So this has been opened for a while. I'm in the process of having the core triage team moving to HackerOne, and I'm under the impression that there is no one really directly concerned with us tonight. To be honest, I'm not certain those guys want to have time to handle this. Maybe we should.
Maybe we want.
Sorry, yes?
I was just saying maybe we should get some other opinions on it from other people.
I was thinking about maybe the TSC involved in that, since all those people seem to be members of it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, maybe invite some other people from the TSC or to just take a look and get their opinions.
Sorry, Liran, I did not get all of that.
Sorry, I said I agree. Like, I think we should probably get some more opinions on the platform from other people on the TSC or otherwise.
Okay. Yes, looks good to me. So yeah, let's ping the TSC on that. Do you think it's doable, Colin?
Sorry, I was actually not paying attention. I was trying to figure out the YouTube link situation.
Or is it? It seems. Oh yes, good. My point is, do you think we can have this discussed by the TSC at the end of the day? Because I have a hard time getting adoption from the core triage team with HackerOne right now.
Yeah, I guess I would recommend putting it on the TSC agenda. I did see that Rod kind of needed to be sold on it a little bit, so it might be good if we could have a discussion with the TSC. If it's appropriate, we could ask somebody who's more familiar with HackerOne to come to the meeting and present.
I would totally love to do that if you need me.
And I'm happy to give some kind of demo again.
Okay, yeah. I'll put TSC agenda on the meeting or on the issue, and we'll try to get that taken care of.
Awesome. Thank you. So if that's okay, we'll go to the next issue on the agenda, which is issuing CVs for the ecosystem, and that's the issue number 97. Right now, there have been, in the past, there have been a debate to know if we should act as a CNA for the ecosystem, and I think the last decision was let's wait and see how the ecosystem triage team works and how CNA for Node Core works. And I think that on the ecosystem triage team, we are pretty good at handling vulnerabilities right now. We've disclosed a few reports, and I'm under the impression that the people handling CVs for the ecosystem got familiar with the process and are pretty good too. So this would be a good time to reopen this discussion. My opinion is that we should be CNA for the ecosystem, and this has actually been asked by some package maintainers on HackerOne. They asked, why don't you assign CVs? What are your opinions on that topic?
I think it makes sense for us to be a CNA. Yeah, it's very confusing that people would come and discuss the issue in HackerOne, but then have to go somewhere else to get the actual CVE.
So right now we are able to provide CVs through HackerOne, but actually Reed is kindly handling that for us because he gets a CV requirement email each time we need one. And I think it would be more fair not to bother Reed with that every time.
Also, it's just a bunch of manual work, and I would love for y'all to do it rather than me. No offense.
Okay.
Nice.
So, if that's all right with everyone, I think we should think this in the issue, and we should sync up with the people who handle CVs for Node Core. Does that make sense?
At the moment, I think that's just Michael and maybe Sam, but Sam has not been around for a little while.
Okay, so we should ping Michael directly on that then. Hello? Oh yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I was. Okay, so does anyone has anything else to say on that topic?
On CNA,
Right.
or did you move to the next one?
I was thinking about CNA before moving to the next one.
Okay, so I'm good.
I think. Thanks. So next one is update on Node.js security working group number 83. So I had a call with Zibi on that topic. I think it was less than 2 weeks ago. She asked me a few questions on that matter. I don't think there is much to say, except that I do believe that we could be better at evangelizing regarding JS security, regarding everything we do. Actually, I'm trying to understand. Yes, there is also an initiative. I need to find back the issue. That would be issue 93 by Matteo Collina with the involvement of Liran regarding having pre-built security.amd files for package maintainers, and that will be good milestones in a process of better evangelizing what we do and what we expect the ecosystem security to look like. Does that make sense?
I agree. I didn't merge that one because I just waited for more input, but I guess we can kind of proceed with that and just label it for the next working group meeting so we can get some more opinions on it, how to extend it, etc. And totally agree about evangelizing. I think some blog post would be nice. I was actually thinking and starting to work on some drafts for the next WASP AppSec conferences to see if we can give a talk there and just talk about the processes and stuff that we do. So I'm totally aligned with you on that.
Awesome. So let's. I will open an issue regarding evangelism in general. I will close issue 83 since I think we are good on that topic, and we'll track all those kind of initiatives in the new issue. Does that work for everyone?
Okay.
Nice. Thank you. So closing this. Let's move to next topic, which would be early disclosure program. So a bit of context. During Node Interactive in Vancouver, approached by some cloud provider or people making business by embedding Node, at least, about a potential early disclosure program regarding core-related security issues. So we opened the RFC on that topic, and I'm pretty happy to see that we've got a bit more responses than last time, especially one from Microsoft. So maybe we should move forward and start to make first proposal to shape such a program. But the first thing is, do we think that there is enough people interested in that for us to start shaping such program?
I mean, I think so.
Yes. So I actually really like that idea because I'm always in love with all ideas that create trust between enterprise and Node.js. That's why that matters a bit to me. So if nobody disagrees, let's say that we'll start to write first proposals regarding this program. Does anyone want to do that?
Find a champion for that.
Yes, let's keep it open. I'll see if I'm not certain about my future week's agenda, and if I manage to have time, I will try to check on that. But I can't promise anything right now. If anyone wants to step in, and even after this meeting, that would be great. But let's see how it goes. All right. I'm sorry. The discussion. Do you want to discuss that a bit more, or we can move to next topic? So let's move to next topic then. So that's issue 67. Regarding core triage team, and I actually closed this issue. No, not yet. I was thinking about closing this issue in favor of the new one, the one to 103. Does anyone have an opinion on that matter?
Yeah, 103 seems to be where the discussion's happening now.
Yes, so let's close 67 and in favor of 103. Closed in favor of. And looks good to me. So let's move to next item, which will be 54. Which is implement a process for management of third party. There are still two tasks open on this. The first one is to build a script to transform HackerOne vulnerabilities into a world repository vulnerabilities. And now that I'm more familiar with HackerOne, I think I should be able to do it better than the first draft I had. I'll do that for next meeting. The other one is on Sam's shoulder, and I think Sam is not really around those time. He takes time for himself. So if anyone wants to take this action, that's really open.
I'll take a look into it. Is Sam the only contact for that on the pulling the new vulnerabilities and stuff like that, or do you have information on that?
I think that's something that needs to be synced up with Adam Baldwin from the Node security project, right?
Yeah, probably. All right, so maybe we'll take it offline through an issue and try to just tag them both, see how to take it forward, and or like someone wants to just continue that one.
Looks good to me.
Okay.
Thank you. And if no one objects, let's move to the last issue, which is bug bounty program number 49. I just realized I forgot to ask you if you wanted to add new items to today's agenda. So we'll, if you have items to add, please think about them, and we will add them just after this issue. So regarding 49, Michael, can you brief us on that? Because you seem to be more aware than me.
I can talk about that just briefly. I do have some input on the pull request that was sort of an initial proposal. I am feeling somewhat stifled by not sure what the right process for getting through a proposal process would be, given some of the questions that would need to be reviewed. But it seemed to me I was trying to prepare something to get to being reviewed. And in that mechanism, I think it's kind of a little sidetracked. So what I would like to do now, I think, is say maybe we take a couple minutes and see if you guys want to talk about the inputs for review and questions that are documented. And other than that, then break it off and make individual issues out of things that need additional questions or inputs. And then walk down the same suggested high-level steps that were documented here. So having said that, I'll ask, do we want to talk about in the document on line 43, I've got some readiness review questions and things that I think are core that would be good to at least put a stake in the ground on a proposal to describe goals, key indicators for whether we're actually going to be successful on this. The question of public versus private is one that I think Reed actually, I'd like your input on in particular, because that's has me scratching my head.
I'm just based off past experience, because it's an open source project with open code, and you're talking about more of a programming language versus like a web app type thing. I just have seen in the past that you know, the private programs are just not as needed anymore. We have new tools in place to help protect against you know, programs being overwhelmed when they go public. You know, kind of helping out with ensuring low signal reports are not making it to you and things like that. And so for these kind of cases, and taking into account things like looking at how Ruby did it and other as well, they went directly to public and went pretty well. And so while if you're a typical SaaS company and you have like web apps and mobile apps, definitely private first is the way to go. But if you're talking about a programming language and this such, I don't know that you're going to get much value out of it. You can definitely do it. It's not that there's, like, I'm saying you can't do it, but I just don't know how much actual good submissions you're going to get with the private program of that type of nature.
That sounds like great input, and I don't have any insight at this point about how many reports we currently get on the mailing list, what our signal to noise ratio is, what the scenario is for likelihood of being able to recruit new researchers that would not currently be in the environment and ecosystem short of a bug bounty program. So I have no strong feeling that it needs to be private initially. I just read that over and over again.
Oh yeah, and I 100% agree on that for the majority of the programs on HackerOne. 100%. I'm saying that this because of the open source nature and just the nature of a programming language, it's a different kind of thing to look at. And just by the types of researchers you're going to get, these are a small number of folks who will definitely, you know, they would get invited to the private program. But I'm not sure you're doing yourself any favor by just keeping it private only for a little bit with them. Seems like you could just as easily go public pretty quickly.
Works for me, as long as we're not going to bury somebody in the noise.
Yep, and if it comes down to it, I'm sure I could get HackerOne to help out with doing some of the initial triage, if that would be something that y'all would be open to.
Does anybody have any concerns with a public first? That is a distinct change from what I've described so far, but hearing no concerns. I did get some indications from various parties that we don't have any independent existing security analysis. I think another issue may have been raised, but I did not do homework to go check and see about actually establishing some ways to describe our security posture in terms of number of inbound reports, density analysis to see whether they're related to HTTP or particular parts of the environment. And I don't know anything about backlog validation. If we've got anything that is currently in the backlog that we should know about before launching such a program. Those are all things that I think that the TSC would wind up knowing about already. So we probably don't have to write those in detail, but that leaves goals, KPIs. And again, Reed, I'll trouble you to ask, do you have thoughts on the responsiveness goals? I mean, is there a standard that you would suggest?
Yeah, we definitely have responsiveness goals. Funny enough, we're actually launching something today. It may have already launched. That is going to put responsiveness stuff front and center. But it comes down to what you can kind of commit to. We generally say that you can within about 48 hours, if you can get that initial response, that's a good first step, and then kind of can go from there. But it's all about setting expectations. And so if you say in your policy that, like, okay, we take a week or so to respond to things, then it's setting that expectation is the key part. But if you can at least get an initial response in within that 48-hour window, that's a pretty good response time.
Okay, I'll have to go back and look and see if we have on the mailing list a response definition, unless anybody knows right offhand. If not, I'll go look that up. And then looking at the questions down below, I wanted to grab scope and get somebody who's got a really good sense of what scope they want to see in a bug bounty program in terms of core. If it's just stuff delivered when you install Node, literally, or if it's some subset, things like, we know that if you play with the file system, you can do bad things. You could remove important files if you write a bad actor.
Is there any guidelines in similar programs for other languages or platform?
You can look at, Ruby's is extremely open. They don't say much there. They just say that it's for security issues in the Ruby programming language, and that they are really looking for things that are, arbitrary code execution or something equivalent. Is the main thing, but they take other issues as well, because sometimes there's like one-offs that they'll come about. But let me see if there's something. I would also check to see what maybe the Rust folks say. That would be another good one. Let's see, Rust Lang. They have a pretty detailed policy, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it doesn't say like the types of issues they say. They just basically say like this is their process for handling things. They try to acknowledge within 24 hours and then do like a more detailed follow-up within 48 hours is their kind of policy. But let's see, I'm just trying to read anything. No, that's the main thing. I can post their link in what they say here. So, but yeah, I mean, Honestly, you can also iterate. So you can definitely get some stuff perfect. I mean, you have the HackerOne platform allows you to have assets, and so while you're already using that for the Node.js ecosystem project of like the different Node modules, you can just say github.com/Node.js/Node as the assets, and any other programs or projects you want to include, and then just say that you're looking for. These are the types of issues you're looking for, and iterate from there. Nothing has to be perfect. I mean, you iterate and make changes as things come up.
Yeah, absolutely. My
Perfection's the enemy of good. So so whatever that phrase is.
yeah, we won't get progress if we have to get perfect. I do want to try and be sensitive to the fact that the proposal that we make is going to have people, not us, have to do work. And that's one of those scenarios that within this particular organization, I'm not sure how that work's going to wind up getting done. Earlier we were talking about the need to get, I was stalled, the getting HackerOne for core. The HackerOne for third parties was moving along nicely, but for core didn't seem to be. So I do think I'm going to want to get additional input through an issue, but the idea of how the communication, how you set the expectations, I think that's got to be done and managed through a group beyond broader than this group. I'll throw that out there and see if anybody wants to comment now, but I'll open an issue on it because I do want to make sure that others know. The funding item is also one that we could start off with a single source, and we've got some notes in the issue and suggestions that from a internet bug bounty program, we could probably get some classes of issues bountied. I don't know whether we want to look beyond that, but as mentioned, going for perfection is not going to be ideal here. That does then lead into the what's the impact for high volume NPM modules, and if our scope were to include something beyond the core node, we would definitely need other funding. I assume that there would actually be a high interest in that, but that was the one new item that somebody really added to the list through this process. So other than that,
that's already. So Michael?
Yeah.
Just a question. So probably like most of the things that we would get out of the bug bounty program would be relevant for the Node core, but aren't we already covering like the ecosystem with NPM models through the current triage team on HackerOne? Or are you saying this will work differently?
Well, this would be whether we offer bounties on on security issues, which we currently don't offer any bounties on the security issues. It could be issues collected through HackerOne similarly, but no issue would be within scope for bounty unless we could find a funding source for delivery.
But is that common for other like vendors or platforms that have like a package management around that ecosystem, that they do bug bounties for like open ecosystem stuff?
I do not know of it being common.
Okay.
Reed, if you've got insights to whether it's available with anybody. Yum did not seem to be covered broadly, but Rails is.
Yeah, I mean, so one thing I can speak of, I can't say the specific details because it's not launched yet, but I had a conversation with a very large CMS over the weekend, and they're looking to do something similar of like paying out bounties not only for the actual CMS code itself, but also the plugins and extra modules and things that are like in high use. So it's definitely something that other groups are thinking about. and so it's I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that is doing something like this right now.
We've got this week we've got a vulnerability reported in a module backed by a company, and the company offered a reward to the hacker. I think it was on Tuesday, and I was really grateful about that. Maybe we can somehow, when vulnerabilities are found in module not maintained by individuals, or maybe when the module impacts businesses, we can try to see if we can collect a bounty from people who are, who have business in having this module safe.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to picture mechanically how that might work, but if it's just a post-report scenario versus having a bounty program, and something turns out to be a very substantial find, so those responsible say, yes, we'd like to pay for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then
is it possible for them to, like, for that company to actually like be listed on the, like, the bug bounty wouldn't be only from Node, like there would be a collection of those kind of companies behind those packages that would just be listed there?
I think that would be,
and they would sponsor it.
I think that would be hard to have a company A giving reward for a vulnerability in modules of company B. We can try. I don't know.
That feels awkward to me, and I'm not a HackerOne expert by any means, but it seems to me that you get a lot of benefit from using the HackerOne platform to pay out your bounties, and because we're collecting the reports on HackerOne, we could probably use that system, but then a third party would have to pay through our system, and if it's an out of scope payment, then we set ourselves up for arguing about what is scope, what is in scope. So that it feels challenging to me.
Yeah, so what it might be good is to, there's a bunch of companies already supporting the Node.js Foundation, and either the foundation itself may have money, or either these companies may step up again and say, like, okay, we want to support, the top Node modules and such, and maybe they opt in for other modules as well, but then they can put money into a pool that then can be paid out. And I mean, this all becomes an accounting thing on the back end for really who's ever running this, but there could be ways. It's not saying that it's easy, but it could be ways that somebody says, okay, I want to donate money for this particular module or this particular thing, and do that.
I mean, logistically, it feels like having the one source of funds for a bug bounty program being the foundation is the right answer, and just having a way for companies to be involved with the bounty program, whether it's just by membership into the foundation or some secondary mechanism to give money to the foundation to support the bug bounty program, feels logistically like the easiest way to do this. Then we don't have to deal with trying to collect money at certain times from certain companies or figure out how to hook other things into this system.
Yeah, I agree completely. It also has the burden that it puts some work on other people that's not us.
Yes, no, absolutely. But it feels like it's in scope for the foundation to support the ecosystem at large, even if it's not talking about Node itself. And so I think that's why companies are members of the foundation is the ecosystem. So I think it falls within scope to include that, ecosystem packages into the scope of the bug bounty program, and I feel like that falls in the spirit of the program, and then we can hopefully leverage the foundation. But yeah, getting somebody on the foundation side to figure out the financial aspects is definitely going to be some work.
Excellent. I appreciate the conversation. That's all I had for today. I've got a handful of notes, and I will revise the posting as proposal and create new issues to try and move conversation out of the pull request and into issues for more focused topics and things that would not, and getting back to what I said last time, I would like to go ahead and presume that we can get in front of the board and present a proposal they could react to, and we could get going less than perfect, less than full scope. We don't have to resolve this question about the third-party modules. If we start with a small scope and then can increase it, that's great.
Seems great to me. Cool.
Well, thank you. Sorry for taking so long.
No, that's an important topic. Does anyone want to discuss a bit more bug bounty program before we go to next items? Seems we are good. So as I said before we move to this issue, does anyone has oh, okay, so we missed something from the chat. Tierney from Node.js suggested, what about the top X module or module with over X download per month? I think that might be a metric to see which modules would qualify to be bountied. Give that a word.
Yeah, I definitely think that once you get into the idea of having third-party modules, you definitely have a open question about selection of which modules, as well as who's going to offer the bounty, how that can get funded, and all the things we just talked about.
Looks good to me. So let's carry on iterating on that. And I really like the idea of having a metric for deciding the scope like that. Okay, great. Do you have any other topic you want to discuss? I don't see anything added to the GitHub issue, so maybe some of you have topics to discuss. All right, so we'll move to Q&A. I think, is there anyone in the chat or watching us right now or on the issue wants to ask question or discuss anything with the security working group? I will leave a few minutes to let question happen. I think we are good. So I'm under the impression that the agenda of the meeting is finished. Our next meeting, if I'm not mistaken, will happen on the 22nd of February. Is that right?
Checking.
Yeah, that looks right to me.
Okay, nice. Okay, so if does anyone want to discuss private matter after this meeting, so we could stop the GitHub transmission and have a private discussion? Does anyone want that, or we can just decide that the meeting is over and carry on with our days? Okay, all right. So thank you all for coming tonight. I hope we'll move on our issues before next meeting, and see you all on the 22nd.
Thank you,
day, guys.
and thanks for running the meeting.
My pleasure. It was It was my first time chairing a Node.js meeting. I hope I was not too terrible.